My name is Dustin Ruge with Law Leaders. I'm going to be hosting the November Law Leaders Mastermind group. So thank you for joining us. And we are lucky to have somebody join us today. Scott Shockney with Sidecar is along for the ride. So Scott, I don't know if you want to introduce yourself, maybe give a little bit of background on yourself.
Well, I've been doing this for quite some time. Thanks, Dustin, for inviting me to do this. I've been in the legal space well over a dozen years, in digital marketing, close to 25. So I started a long time ago in a lot of different verticals. And Dustin and I have worked together in the past. My primary area is lead generation, whether that is case acquisition for attorneys or small businesses. I do work with some international companies as well. So my background is pretty varied, and he asked me to participate in all the changes that are happening with the AI world. So with that, I think we have a pretty good presentation for you guys. Lots of information, and it will be available after the webinar is done.
Great. Yeah, Scott's one of the best in the industry, so we're lucky to have him join us today. So this should be a good presentation. So, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and fire through some of the agenda items we're going to be going through today. We have a lot of materials to cover around AI and the impacts it's having on legal marketing. So the first thing we're going to start out with is just kind of the general background around AI and why it's so important for attorneys. Then we're going to jump into areas around the impacts of chatbots, AI-generated content and SEO. So customer targeting and predictive marketing. Then we're going to be moving into areas around AI-generated video content, video search optimization, video visual recognition technology, and then feedback analysis. So we've got quite a few items to cover today on our agenda, and we're looking forward to going through this with you. So the first question we often get is, what is AI? As everybody knows, it's a big buzzword right now. Everybody's talking about it ever since October of 2022 when ChatGPT first came out. Everybody's like, what is this? What is artificial intelligence? And really, there's still a lot of confusion around this when I talk to people. But the easiest way to understand AI is basically a simulation of human intelligence in machines that is programmed to think and learn like humans do. So basically, it's designed to allow it to interpret, analyze, and learn from data in a similar way that humans do that now. And the reason why AI is so important, everybody's talking about it, is because throughout human history, humans have always been the smartest species on the planet. But now, with AI capabilities, that actually might change. And that's why everybody's taken very quick notice as to what is AI and what are the impacts it has on our industry. Now, when you look at AI, there's three general types of AI. So when you're talking about artificial intelligence with people, it's important to understand where are we in the evolution, because the evolution of AI actually didn't really start with ChatGPT. In fact, it even predates that some years before. So it's not entirely new. So for example, if you're used to being on your mobile device and using Siri and Alexa, you're using what's called natural language processing and machine learning, which are two subsets of AI. But they're classified under what's called artificial narrow intelligence, or ANI, which is basic machine learning, or what they call weak AI. And that is something that's been around for a number of years. However, with the release of ChatGPT in October of 2022, we started moving into an area called AGI, or artificial general intelligence, which is machine intelligence at a level that can compete in many respects at or even above what human intelligence can provide. And that's where a lot of people started drawing attention to this. The third evolution is what's called ASI, or artificial super intelligence, and that is machine consciousness. And that's basically when everybody's freaked out about, hey, is the Terminator going to come and destroy all human beings? And are they going to outsmart us, et cetera? That's where you see a lot of the concerns around AI and the evolution of AI is, hey, what is this ultimately going to mean? Are these machines going to be smarter than us? Are they going to ultimately take our jobs, and are they going to take our lives, or anything of that nature? We're not quite there yet. So the point is, right now we're moving evolutionally into AGI, which is actually where we're going to see a lot of real big benefits within not only every industry that we work within, but even the legal industry as well. So keep that in context as far as the evolution as we move forward. Now, as far as what are some of the things that are important around AI, the first thing that's important to mention is the speed of processing and the speed of learning. So AI basically allows us now to process data and make decisions at speeds that are far in excess of human capabilities. We first started seeing this back all the way in 1997 when IBM put out a computer called Deep Blue. And it was the first time that a computer was able to beat a chess champion called Gary Kasparov in a 6-game match. And that's when everybody started paying attention to, hey, how can these machines learn and do better? And AI now allows the ability to be able to learn by simulating millions of games. So in other words, what would have taken Gary many lifetimes to be able to gain into human intelligence, AI can now do in a fraction of that time through simulation. And basically what AI also does is it works in excess of what the human brain limitations are, which is the ability to process and move information forward. So these new chatbots like ChatGPT now have microchips that allow them to process information 100,000 times faster than the human brain. And that's why everybody's really starting to pay attention to this and really starting to see the impacts of it. Because historically in the technology world, there was a thing called Moore's Law. Excuse me. And Moore's Law was basically the idea that processing speed would double about every 2 years. With AI computing, speed is now doubling every 3 months. So right now we're seeing a rapid advancement in the speed of learning and the ability for AI to be able to catch up and even exceed human capabilities in learning. And we're also seeing a speed of innovation with AI as well. So one of the things you'll notice on the chart to the right is the amount of time it took for ChatGPT when it came out to hit 1 million users. And it happened in 5 days. And now when you look at that in contrast with some other famous technologies that have been used in the past, such as Facebook and Netflix and others that took months and even years to get to that point, right now it's moving at a faster pace of any technology in the history of the United States and the world for that matter. So innovation is rapid, which means traditional forms of training such as schools and resources such as, supporting can't keep up with this. So basically new enabled technology, new companies are emerging literally daily now to address this need in ways in which that we've never seen before historically. Now, some of the real benefits that come with AI, especially around AGI, which is what we're moving into now, has to do with productivity gains. So what are we actually gaining from the AI impact? So obviously the easy things are around low value tasks, decision-making, targeting, content personalization, customer analysis and analytics, ROI and streamlined processes. All these areas right now are being hugely impacted by what's going on with AI technology. And it's happening, again, far faster than we've ever seen before. Even skilled workers like attorneys and other people of that nature, right now they're estimating that there's going to be at least a 40% gain in performance and productivity just by using AI alone. So basically what this means is what you need to do as far as work can be completed in a much more efficient manner. That's the premise behind productivity. So if you like to golf or if you like to take time off or anything of that nature, right now AI provides arguably the greatest capability to do that in our existence. So why are we talking about these impacts around legal? Well, the first thing is of all the industries that they've analyzed that the impacts of AI are going to impact, are legal is going to be by far the most. So right now, up to about 50% of all the functions and activities that take place within the legal space are now going to be impacted by the AI technologies that are out there. And many of these impacts go into areas that you are very familiar with now if you work within the legal industry. So these cover areas like e-discovery, document management, contract drafting and analysis, brief creation and management, case management, evaluating claims and dockets and things of that nature, research and deposition prep, and improved marketing. So just over the past year alone, we've seen an emergence of new companies that popped up that never existed before. And many of them are listed right here that you're going to become more familiar with over time, because a lot of these new technologies, these new companies are going to be impacting all these areas around law and where AI can ultimately be of benefit to them. But what we're going to focus in on today has to do largely with marketing. Now, this might be a little bit hard to read. It's a little dense. And But what I wanted to do was paint a picture for everybody so you understand what the impacts of AI and legal marketing will very likely be moving forward, and probably faster than most people have ever realized. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through a scenario of what this would potentially look like. So for example, I'm going to just use John, anybody, John has a legal need and doesn't know where to go and start, where his options are, which is typical for most consumers. John then goes online, learns more about specific issue from multiple sources. Moments later, John receives a text from a local attorney who handles these specific case types, providing him with case-specific information and a calendar link to set up an online in-person free initial consultation to discuss the case with him in more detail. John then signs up for the meeting with the local attorney and then retains the attorney to handle his case. The reason why I bring this scenario up is I want you to think about all the areas that attorneys do within marketing today and what kind of impact this will have in everything that they do. Because traditional forms of marketing are going to either have to evolve and change to support this model, or they're going to literally fall behind. And the great thing is this is a much more efficient way of doing marketing and handling information and processing information, but it's something a lot of attorneys aren't prepared for. So what we're going to be doing is talking about today some of these impacts and how you can work around this and use this ultimately to your advantage. So Scott, I'm going to go ahead and begin with you, and you can go ahead and work into the sections around chatbots and content creation.
So thanks, Dustin. And I'll just have you advance the slides as needed. So the chatbots, as Dustin pointed out, we're going to focus a little bit more on the application for legal marketing. What I wanted to bring to the table is use case. Like, this is how it's being deployed. And I know a lot of people are familiar with, hey, there's people out there dropping content left and right. They just go on ChatGPT and add things. And to varying degrees of success. I'm familiar with a firm that is spending $90,000 a month in SEO content generated from ChatGPT. They've got hundreds of thousands of terms that they show up for, that they have visibility for, but they've done nothing to increase their cases or the quality of their cases. So that seems to me that is not delivering a really solid ROI. And part of that is because they don't have a strategy in place. So in this case, what I want to do is talk about a little bit about organic content and actual deployment. So let me, next slide, Dustin, please. So overall organic content that's available that you could use the ChatGPT, Poe, there's a bunch of different ones that are out there. You can use it for blogging, existing content, the top of funnel and the bottom of the funnel. And there's a specific difference between the two. The top of funnel content is typically rich in informational how-tos, whys, best practices, guides. It's a focus on building a lot of traffic to your domain. The bottom of the funnel is where the conversion happens. And the bottom of the funnel content is the moneymaker stuff where you're really pushing value proposition. Evergreen content is simply, here's something that doesn't change very often, but is it accurate or not? You have the ability to add in news or events. You can do regular posting of recent case studies, new laws that are passed, success stories that you've had. And now, as you're starting to see more and more of visual content creation, and there are tools that have integrated different AI platforms so that you can put a whole theme together, and it will not only build and generate content, but it will also build corresponding visual to support what you're trying to post for or what you're talking about. Next post, please. So what I wanted to cover here is a little bit about, here's how we actually go about doing it. We use AI tools as a resource to build content. And the first thing that we do is we're going to go in and we're going to do a review of the page, the individual page, from an AI perspective. In the lower left, it says page quality score, and you see the number 71. It's taking into all these different variables and saying this page, but you're trying to show up for the key term, white collar crime lawyer, you're 71 out of 100. And if I look at it in comparison to the competitors in the space, you're going to see the topic score for white collar crime lawyer. You want to hit that optimal gold bar. and they're 14% of your out of a possible 100, but you're well under the optimal. The optimal is the average of the top 10 pages that show up for that content. And then there's just a little AI breakdown. So what we do with this information is saying, okay, we know what the gap is. We put it into a matrix, and you'll see the matrix in the center, and it will show us the top 20 pages that show up well for white collar crime lawyer. In the AI world, you have to have other things other than just that keyword. You can't do what's called keyword stuffing and just say white collar crime lawyer 40 times and expect results. The AI is looking for other words and phrases. They need to show up. You need to see wire fraud, insurance fraud, criminal defense attorney. That is called latent semantic indexing. We expect if this word is here to see these words there. And those are those little green boxes. And you'll see what we do is we say, okay, here's the competitors. Here's where they are. Does our content have all this information in it? And as we do that, we run a final throughput, which is saying, okay, our optimal is that still the gold bar, and our goal is to move our green line to surpass the gold bar. You'll see that our word count went up significantly. The headers went up. We reduced a bunch of redundant links that had no value whatsoever, and we added some imagery. And the final test that we take is, okay, let's put that in and see what is the search engine, how does it view it? And you'll see that page quality score went from a 71 out of 100 to a 93. So significant improvement. That's a process using AI and using human editors to improve the content on a site. In real world, next slide, let's see what happens when we do that. Here is a result. We took this personal injury attorney in a major metro, and we did an SEO content spread, took his top 20 pages of content, applied the AI methodology that we just talked about, and this was the result. 1 month in, he had a 128% increase in users, but the page views went up over 1,000%. And the page depth, how many pages per session, they went up. Everything about it increased. The second month in, again, another increase in users, another increase in page views, and there is, of course, there's a little bit of session per user drop, but can't be always perfect, but it gets up there. But the big result that we saw off this is within 90 days, this particular firm saw an increase in number of keywords that they were new keywords that they had never shown visibility for, was increased 391 terms. The existing terms, they improved 441 terms improved. They ended up having 70 new terms in the top 10 for visibility and 213 within the top 20. And for those of you that are not aware of this, there are no more pages in Google. Everybody is page one. Congratulations, you're all page one, because they have what's called infinite scroll. And so you'll see that some of the best results are actually people hitting their thumb the first time on a mobile phone, getting past all the paid stuff that they know is there that's being promoted by Google. And if you're in that spot 9 to 20, you actually have the ability to show up. So we kind of track and say, okay, how many people can we move into that top 20 because it has a significant impact. So this is an example, real world example of how to improve organic. Now let's take a look at next slide and take a look at the version for SEM, search engine marketing, pay-per-click, and see how that works. So Google launched a program called Performance Max. That is their Google version. It's an AI-driven program. What happens in there is you go in and you add all of your assets. You add imagery, you add in your logo, your business name, ad copy, everything that you want for a successful campaign. And then all you do is say, here is my budget, Google. My budget is $2,500 a month, and I want $10,000 worth of leads given back. And push the button and all this magic is supposed to happen. What we really see in actuality is you get lots of impressions and you get a lot of waste. So it's excellent for branding. It's not so good for lead generation. The other drawback, and there's a significant pushback from a lot of marketers, because in order to enhance the performance with using the Performance Max AI campaign, you are required to use Google's landing pages and Google phone numbers, which a lot of people don't want to give all that information over in order to maximize your return. So another way of doing it, and the way that we've been doing it successfully, is we will use AI in our campaign asset development for a regular search campaign. And it helps us with the speed of execution from the time it's go to launch, shortens significantly. And then the quality of what happens when we deploy is also much greater than without using AI. So we use it for the unique value proposition, what's the basic ad copy and descriptions, the call to action, site links that are in there, and any imagery that we can use that will correspond with the campaign. And again, I'm going to show you a real world example of what happens when you use AI. So go ahead, next one. And here is a client, which is 7 days post-launch. And typically what happens at 7 to 10 days to get within an auction, to get in auction rotation in Google PPC. What we were able to do is within the first 7 days, have 57% market share or impression share within the market. And you can see we're outperforming LegalZoom, FindLaw, Legal Shield, some of the big competitors in the space for the terms that we're going after. The click-through rate at 2.7 is above the average in that space, was 1.2. Without anything other than just launching it, we were already exceeding it. Impression share and in top of impression share, you can see that this is a campaign right out of the gate that's very, very successful. The client signed cases immediately. Their phone was ringing immediately, which is exactly what you want to have happen. And I can tell you that since this is launched, the click-through rate has doubled again. So we're using AI to refine the campaign. And so the CTR at that 2.7 is just, it's 4.8 right about now. I checked it this morning. So it is continuing to improve. So those are some real world examples of how to deploy and integrate using AI tools, not in replacing what you do, but in addition to what you do. So Dustin, I think next one's yours.
Excellent. Great. So that takes us to our next topic, which is also voice search optimization. So as you're probably familiar with now, consumers, prefer voice search over typing on mobile. We all carry around mobile devices now, and we're seeing a proliferation of people, using Alexa, Siri, Google Assist, etc. And that uses what's called ANI, machine learning type technology, which has been around for a while. Around 50% of the US population today currently uses voice searches on a daily basis. But when you look at what people do through traditional searches, and I have an example of this on the right-hand side, which is filing a workers' comp claim, is different than, for example, what people do when they do voice searches, where they ask questions and they query based upon a natural conversational type of language, such as Siri, how long do I have to file a workers' compensation injury claim where I am located, which is a very typical voice search type of a search that would take place. So compared to the more formal, concise tone of how people were traditionally typing into Google to do search, voice searches now are very conversational in a form of a question. And that is where AI right now is enabling us to exceed and do great things around this, using what's called advanced ANI, natural language processing, which basically now interprets user intent and delivers more of those relevant results based upon things like relevance, authority, reviews and ratings, distance, etc. So unlike traditional static website content, natural language generation, or NLG, now analyzes structural data to generate conversational, human-like content for voice queries. And this happens through using a schema markup, which is a type of code that tells the search engines how to understand website content. What this is going to mean moving forward for attorneys is not only are they going to need to monitor, like they traditionally do, what their search rankings are, but also now monitor their voice search rankings and make adjustments accordingly. And they also need to make sure that it's optimized for local search, because as many of you know, when people do local searches, they ask questions near me or things of that nature to be able to denote a geographic significance in their search. And one of the biggest impacts this is now having on the industry is what are called featured snippets. And basically, how voice search results are provided are through what are called virtual snippets or featured snippets. So if you haven't done one of these before, do it on your phone. You'll typically see a snippet as a result, which is basically a concise, well-structured answer to specific questions, which means you need to optimize now your content for these featured. That's my phone actually thinking I'm talking to it. That means now is you have to optimize your content for featured snippets that can increase your chances of your content being read out loud by virtual assistants. You also need to focus, as we've always done before, around mobile page speed, and then creating now what are called conversational interfaces, so that this allows the incorporation of things like chatbots and conversational interfaces into your website to provide instant responses to voice query searches. And Scott, I know you've seen this as well, correct? On the way that you incorporate this in SEO.
Yeah, one is Dustin mentioned schema or semantic markup. That is part of the latent semantic indexing that Google's looking for. So when we are crafting pages and content for clients, we have seen that when you do the right structure, the chance of you showing up in the snippets increases tremendously. And the thing, I know it says here that, hey, they're pulling from the top 3. I've seen them pull from position 14. I've seen them pull from position 16 if you go search it. So what happens is, as long as you have it formatted appropriately and you have it set up to answer the query that's being posed, you're going to find you can get lift off of that. So on every page of content, you want to go through and say, okay, how can I pose? What would be the question that I'm trying to answer here? Do I have it set up in that format? Because you increase your likelihood of showing up in the results for voice.
Excellent. Good. Another area that we're seeing huge impacts from in AI is around visual recognition technology. So basically what this means is now through AI, we can now convey meaning and messages to images similar to what humans currently do today. When you contrast that to past marketing, for example, most data was detected, analyzed, segmented, and classified based upon indexable text. This is one of the reasons why attorneys for a long time produced a lot of content, both in their blogs or websites, et cetera, because the search engines can easily understand what they are and be able to do all those types of segmentation, classifications, et cetera, around that and give some type of meaning to it. In addition to that, with images, they would use what are called alt text, but again, it was limited just to a textual meaning. But one of the things that is different is that humans traditionally, and because of this, humans now are able to contextualize meaning to images. That's why you see platforms such as Instagram and other types of social media sites that literally don't have any text. People are speaking and conveying messages through imagery of everything that they're doing. And the reason why that's so important is the human brain processes visual content 60,000 times faster than it does text. This is why image-based advertising is so effective, is you can convey a lot more messaging and a lot more information in a much shorter period of time. As a result of that, for example, social media each day, there's about 3.2 billion images and 720,000 hours of video that is shared on a daily basis. In Google alone, there's 30 billion photos and videos that are uploaded to Google literally each week. So there's a huge amount of impact of images that are being out there that a lot of times companies and organizations had a hard time structuring into meaning. And that's where visual recognition technology comes in, because now through marketing, It allows what's called deep machine AI learning that will now be able to do all the things that we were able to do historically with text that we can now do through images, such as detection, analysis, segmentation, and classification of indexable visual information through technology. And that's one of the biggest breakthroughs that we're seeing with this. And it's already happening now. If you ever go to an airport and a lot of the TSA booths, you're going to see this in use now through airports. You'll see it through phones and PCs, security systems, etc. And basically what we're doing is we're moving significantly beyond the traditional days of alt tagging images to now actually giving meaning and usefulness to images as they move forward. So what does this mean from a marketing side? What are the benefits from the AI application of this? We're now able, through the technology, able to create marketing and better ads to be able to do everything through text that we were able, everything through images now that we were able to do through text, the detection, analysis, segmentation, and classification. And we can do this not only of images, but also through associations to people. So we can create comprehensive visual reference points to create that avatar, if you will, or that marketing sphere of a person, indicating everything around them, such as their likes, their interests, do they have families, what their needs are, what their wants are, their desires, issues, everything. And by using identity and by being able now to identify individual users and consumers in this way, we're now able to understand their needs better able to serve them the most relevant content and products that we weren't able to do before. And it also allows marketers now to measure the effectiveness of those campaigns in their strategies. So overall, when you look at visual technology, the benefits of marketing now are going to be highly personalized ads, engaging content, better customer service, higher conversion rates, higher return on investment, as well as increased productivity. Another impact that we're seeing with AI on the industry is around what's called predictive analytics. So predictive analytics through AI now allows us to analyze historical and current data through things called data mining, predictive modeling, and through machine learning to be able to predict human behaviors and actions. And this is now allowing us to be able to forecast trends, to identify patterns, to make data-driven decisions, and to optimize campaigns and advertising in ways that we've never been able to do this before. And the reason why this is important now is a lot of companies, whether they're small, law firms, all the way up to large corporations, they're swamped with too much data. And the only way they can be able to utilize that data is through what's called machine learning to create and predict future events using AI technology. And a perfect example of this was through Netflix. So Netflix actually shocked the world when they used predictive AI data analytics around their famous show called House of Cards. And when they applied this type of technology to their viewership, they were able to get a 93% viewer retention rate for the House of Cards, which was higher than anything they've ever seen in the viewing and TV industry before. So why is this important? What does this mean? It means now by using predictive AI, content and entertainment, things like driving routes, dining options, marketing messages, all of this is being tailored to you by ultimately putting the right information in the right hands at the right time, which is basically the premise behind what marketing is and how to do it very effectively. And when you look at analytics, one of the things I often start by is letting people know, hey, you're probably familiar already with the first two phases of analytics. Most people that have websites or things use tools like website analytics tools like Google Analytics and things of that nature. But basically there's 4 levels of data analytics, 2 of which, the initial ones, basically tell us what is happening now. And that's what you see through your website analytics tools and everything else. It's telling you a descriptive and diagnostic nature of information that's taking place. But the holy grail of data analytics is what we're moving into now with AI, which is allowing us to be predictive and prescriptive. Basically, what we're allowing us to do now is take what is happening and now putting it into a realm of what will happen. Through AI machine learning now, we're going to be able to enable predictive analytics so you can be able to answer questions like not only who are your clients, but who are your future clients? What are their needs? When will they have those needs? When can you act? And how and when will you be able to convert those clients? Something we've never really been able to do before that AI is now being able to enable. The other thing about this, when you look at the analytics tools like website tools, you're also going to be moving from the days of looking at data and trying to make analysis and information and sense of everything that's going on, for example, on your web spheres, to being able to plug in things like, who are my clients? What are the cases I want? What's my budget? And being able to analyze the assets you have, the industry you have, and being able to tell you exactly what it is that you need to be able to fill those gaps in order to achieve those objectives. So there's some huge breakthroughs that are taking place in predictive analytics that we're just starting to see now in the legal industry. We're also seeing AI now being able to use through feedback and experience analysis. So many attorneys are familiar now with the importance of reviews and things of that nature and social media interaction. But through AI-powered sentiment analysis, we now can analyze all customer feedback, online mentions, and understand how customers really feel about your brand, your products, your services, etc. And how this helps you as a marketer is it allows you to identify in advance pain points, improve products and services, and ultimately tailor your marketing campaigns to better resonate to your clients and your customers. AI also can now be used to better monitor social media conversations in real time, allowing companies to quickly respond to the feedbacks and concerns. Another thing that I'm seeing a lot of in the legal industry is now, as a result of COVID, a lot of intake and client signups are taking place virtually. We're not requiring people as much to come into the office anymore, but rather to have initial phone and Zoom interactions with clients. Well, there are tools out there like, for example, Gong, that now allows you to, through AI technology, be able to analyze all of those phone and Zoom interactions and be able to provide next steps, predictive analytics, who is most likely to sign up, who is not, what should be the next steps. All these great actions and predictions that you need to take place are now taking place based upon the information of interactions that we're currently using today. So we're seeing huge breakthroughs in that area as well. Another area that we're seeing some significant improvements on is around video marketing. And one of the reasons why video marketing, again, it's not new. Most people know what this is because video continues to be the highest converting content online. Digital video consumption in the US now is surpassing TV viewing time. If you don't believe that, just watch what your kids are doing. I see my son all the time. He's watching everything on YouTube. They want to watch on demand. They don't want to watch in schedules and watch on TV. This is happening everywhere, especially with now YouTube TV and other types of viewing services that are out there today. However, the problem with video marketing for attorneys has historically been all the struggles around creating and marketing video. The time to produce, the expertise needed around them, facilities to be able to produce them, the production, the editing, all the marketing of the videos is a very complex process that, unlike writing something and simply publishing on a website, now has become very difficult through video marketing, which is why a lot of attorneys haven't traditionally adopted that. However, there are some attorneys that have and have seen some amazing results from them. So this is an example of a video that was produced by one of the members of Law Tigers out of Irvine, California, is an employment law attorney named Brannigan Robertson. And Brannigan put out a number of whiteboard videos last year, one of which was how human resources, for example, cheats you, right? And in this case, within less than a year, he received over 2.4 million views in less than a year. Now, you contrast that with most attorney videos that are out there today that might get maybe a few views, maybe if you're lucky, a couple hundred views. This is literally a business generator for Brannigan now because he's getting millions of views on his videos for people that can understand his videos and ultimately want to retain him. So video still has a lot of power to it. The other thing that video is great with is on mobile search. And when people do mobile search now, they don't want to read, they want to watch. That's why utilizing videos, especially for conversions off of your pages, are so important. This is especially important if you market to the Spanish-speaking community because they have the highest adoption of mobile rates within the United States. Google now has almost 95% of mobile search of the market as well. So, but with new AI technology, what we're able to do through video production is something of a quantum leap compared to what we were able to do literally months ago. And to give contrast and relevance to this, I want to speak to what this looks like and how we've evolved. So for example, in the past, when movies were created, similar looking actors and characters were used in prequels and flashback scenes, right? In order to give some type of relevance to pre-production to current state of time. But something very interesting happened in 2016, and it happened with the release of Star Wars Rogue One, which was a prequel that was a movie made that was supposed to predate Star Wars, which was produced 40 years before. And what they used was new CGI technology, which basically allowed them to recreate the original characters in the exact form that they were in 40 years before. So if you watch this movie, you might remember Peter Cushing, who was Governor Tarkin, who actually had passed away before this movie was even produced. They brought him back to life with this technology. Princess Leia, who was played by Carrie Fisher, again, they put her in the exact form that she was in 40 years ago, and a number of other characters that were able to do that. It was a very expensive and very complicated process, but it produced jaw-dropping visualizations that people didn't know existed before, and they rolled that out in 2016. But the good news is now with AI, we're seeing a quantum leap where everybody can now use this technology today in a very cost-effective manner. So with new AI technology, what are these new vendors and systems out there allowing you to do is you can create custom avatars of other people, even of yourself, where they can copy your images, your mannerisms, your voice, your language through natural language processing, etc. And let me paint a picture for how cool this is actually becoming. For less than $1,500 now, these companies can come in, they can scan anybody, including an attorney. They can grab everything about them, their images, their mannerisms, how they speak, etc. And they can build what's called a professional avatar out of you. So they literally can create you as a character. And then as a result of that, you can create an avatar. And from that, you can create anything you want with your avatar, literally producing videos within a matter of minutes. And not only that, it can have you speaking not only in your language, but in 29 current languages. And I'm sure there's going to be a hell of a lot. It's also going to be able to change your accents. You can literally have hundreds of different types of accents as well. So you can, what used to take weeks to be able to produce, now you're able to do literally within a matter of minutes to be able to produce and put out video content of any type of attorney speaking on any types of topic. So it is a huge breakthrough that AI is enabling us to happen that we never saw before in video content marketing. Which takes us to another issue, which is there's a lot of changes that are going on right now. And the one thing I often talk to about with people on this is it's also going to change how you're going to hire and train and skill your people internally within your law firm. Traditionally, people will hire based upon their titles, and their titles will typically denote their skills. But with the rapid pace of AI adoption, people with AI skills are very new now, which means AI innovation is outpacing traditional education learning institutions and skills that people are bringing on board. So one of the things that you're going to need to do as a law firm moving forward is make sure that you not only focus in on the titles of the people that you're bringing in, but more importantly, what skills they're bringing on with them to be able to support you in these types of initiatives moving forward. This also means that you're going to need to have a reskilling of your current staff that are going to be heavily impacted by AI. And you're going to have to make sure that they understand that the skills that they have can translate to the role that they're going to be needing moving forward. Again, all of this is evolving rapidly. And Scott, I know you have some experience. You've seen this as well, just on the SEO side, correct?
Yeah, in the marketplace, there's job functions now called a prompt engineer, and all they do is build prompts for AI chatbots to extract and formulate content, imagery, or a combination of both. And that function, it wasn't even a function in February. By April, they had a name for it. And now you'll see it as prompt engineer, and you can see it on job boards as listing. Here's something that didn't exist, at the beginning of the year.
Exactly. Which takes us to one of our final points here, which is where are we heading at this point? So the easiest way to understand AI when we're talking about all these details are most attorneys want and always have wanted the same thing. They want higher quality cases and they want more time, more free time, right? And AI now allows you to do this. It provides you with these capabilities better than ever before. So whether you like it or not, AI really is here now. It's here to stay. And ultimately, what we're doing is we're seeing a lot of firms that are getting better cases as a result of this. But one of the things I wanted to leave you with as well on this is there's basically two types of law firms that you're going to be seeing moving forward. Those who are adopting AI and those who are losing business to them. Because the reality is, whether you like it or not, whether you're scared of it or not, or don't know how to adapt to it or not, you're going to have to if you want to survive and thrive in the legal industry. So is the sun going up on your law firm or is it going down? That'll depend largely based upon what you're doing around AI technology. And we're already seeing impacts and results in this. Scott, you and I were talking about this yesterday, right? Just on some of the clients you're working with.
Mm-hmm. You see, I'm seeing people that are embracing it in different areas of their practice outside of just documentation, but how they deploy it in their marketing. They're getting better returns quicker than people that are struggling to still waiting for someone else to show them how to do it.
So two quick notes before we take any questions that anybody might have. The first thing is just real quickly about Law Leaders. For those who are not familiar, those who are not members who have signed up or watched this, Law Leaders is a nationally recognized brand and organization where we help identify, connect, and promote the nation's top lawyers within the legal community, and then ultimately connect them with consumers. We designate the top 10% of attorneys nationwide. We just went through our 2024 designations, which will be, the announcements will be going out over the next 10 days. We also serve a number of directory needs from both expert witnesses as well as member directories, as well as a lead referral service that's unique to the industry as well. So if there's any questions or you have any needs around Law Leaders, feel free to email me directly. But these announcements will be going out to all designated members over the next 10 days. So we're excited about that. And then Scott, maybe you could speak a little bit about your organization.
Sidecar, we predominantly use data-driven analytics. And as you can see, we use a lot of AI tools to develop comprehensive marketing campaigns for not just attorneys. I mean, I'd say 70% of my client base is attorneys, but it's predominantly anybody that's in the lead gen space. We do work with a lot of mass tort firms. We also do work with some private equity organizations that do mass tort lead generation. And I have some international companies as well, but our focus is delivering quality. It's much more boutique. We're not trying to scale up and say, hey, we want everybody. We're very picky with the partners we work with because we're all trying to do the same thing, which is generate more value and more business.
Excellent. Well, Scott, thank you again for joining us. If there's any questions anybody has, feel free to put them in the chat session. We pretty much wrap this at about 50 minutes. So we're on time. So we're happy to address any questions you guys might have now. There was a lot of information we threw at you. AI is a very complicated process, but there's a lot of people out there that are deciphering this and putting this to good use. Scott's one of them. We're doing this as well on Law Leaders side. So if you guys have any questions afterwards, feel free to reach out to either Scott or myself. We'll be happy to work with you and help you understand all this, and then continue with our monthly Law Leaders Mastermind sessions, which we will have our next one in December. We'll be announcing our speaker here shortly for that. So if there's not any other additional questions, Scott, anything else you want to add?
No, thanks for everybody attending. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. It was enjoyable.
Good. And we loved having you, Scott. Thank you. And thank you for everybody that joined us. We will have a recording of this on the Law Leaders website shortly, and we'll be notifying everybody afterwards. Thank you, everybody. Have a great week. And thank you for joining us.